So what happens if your certification runs out and they haven't offered classes? Do they extend
A
it?
lot of times we ask for extensions.
Extensions, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
and they've usually been pretty good about working through those.
okay,
Or, you know, a lot of times sometimes you have to find online stuff, and that's not as always easy to find.
sure,
as well.
sure, yeah.
Like in the Hampshire Fire Academy's pushed off their, firefighter classes, and we got people that wanna take firefighter classes, and, you know, some tall guys and stuff, and they just keep pushing and pushing.
Yeah.
You know, now it's way down the road, and we're like, well,
Yeah.
can I get people trained? We just can't get
And that's the same thing in everything right now, it's crazy,
And
yeah.
the realization is classes are gonna be there, and you know what? People get sick, we'll wear masks and just do your classes. I'm sorry, let's get past that and we'll move on, and this is the way of life. I'm sorry to be a cynical person, but there's a person that works at Walmart and has to wear a mask 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So don't complain, and just do it in the class.
I know,
And I'm not, please, Walmart, I'm not banging on.
No, oh, no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying, it's people working these jobs, servings and everything else, and having to wear, don't complain, just go do this. And I think that's what we would be at right now, until we get past everything.
Yeah.
So we can say, hey, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
But that's my,
Well, I feel the same way, to be honest.
Along with this hiring, you probably, in the $18,000 that you requested for 2022, that was on your protective equipment line. That would have been for the protective equipment for these two people, because you have to buy new protective equipment.
I provided Jean with.
Correct. So,
I'm just asking the question. That's what.
what's going to be removed if you don't include the two personnel is $114,527.12, which includes the wages and benefits for those two employees, and $3,000 from protective equipment, which Mike had put in for that piece.
So,
What's that change the increase to?
but then we need to put back in some monies into the part-time call salary, correct? If he's going to try to get a couple students and offer them.
Well, my thought is if you're reducing it by 36 and change times 2, minus another $17,000, that's quite a bit of money right there.
Oh, sure.
So you take those three numbers, reduce that 8% considerably, and then look at your call line and go back in and see how much of that you think you want to put back into that call line. And come up with a reduced overall expenditure.
2%.
2%? Okay. So that takes 8 to 6. Well, that's where I am.
So I guess what we need to know then is what goes back into the call, correct? And,
Correct.
yeah. I guess
So
that's,
my recommendation
okay,
would be,
all right.
the question was, realistically, would be, how much are we looking to put back in? I mean, we can put money in and not get anywhere, which is.
I understand that.
We're putting that money into that salary line, we're at 35 now, we used to be at 50, and we slowly brought it down.
Oh, have we? Okay,
Yeah, over the years.
all right.
Which is fine. You wanna increase that by 5,000, so we have 40,000 in there, is that what you're
What's the
thinking?
average rate of pay for the,
Probably
for
between 12, right around 12,
so say
13.
13?
Yeah.
Because again, you wanna make it enticing enough that they even want that. You know what I'm saying? If you,
But that's, I think you'll agree, we gotta get people. Dunkin' Donuts is paying $13.50.
right,
Walmart's paying $28
Right.
now at the distribution facility.
yeah,
Plumbers, electricians, all that, everybody's just, that's so high. Again, when we're looking at numbers, we're sitting here saying, we don't wanna bring any more people on.
right,
But we're looking to increase pay,
mm-hmm,
which is still increase, as John
I
would
know.
say, we're taking out of one pocket and putting in
I
another
know.
pocket, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where we're saying is, when we start driving our call pay above our starting full-time pays,
Oh, what's a,
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No, 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 no,
That's
no,
not what we're
but-
saying.
No.
I know, I'm just
Yeah.
keeping that in mind, we're gonna run into some other issues.
I mean, if you look at $13 an hour and the student works, basically is on shift 24 hours in the
Yep.
course of a week,
1 week, yep.
times 2, if you have 2 students, you're looking at $624 a week for, say, 39 weeks, give or take, a school year. You're looking at almost $25,000. And that's just to pay them to be on shift. Doesn't include any time that they may go on a call or come back and go on a call.
Right, because if they're on shift, they don't get paid again.
Right,
Right.
right.
That would be.
is that, oh, okay, oh, if they're on shift, they're not getting paid to go to a call,
If
so
they're
it's,
working that shift
all
that
right,
day and they get 35
Yeah.
calls,
Yeah.
that's what they get paid. You can't be doing that, you get paid twice to be in the same place, that's not gonna be.
that would be my call.
Better say it out loud.
Okay, say it out loud.
Yeah.
I think we go from 35 to 45 on that. Increase it by 10. That would be my, suggestion, unless you think something different. I mean, again, we don't even know if he's.
Right, you don't know if
No.
We don't
you'll
use it.
have
We'll
2
be
students,
done.
you may end up with 1.
Yep.
Or do they come in a, typically as a
Come in a
pair?
pair? No.
One, they come to, you know,
Okay.
there's nothing, they don't come in a package.
There's, okay. There's no package deals out there, okay. All right, you're sure.
You know, and that's just, it's either 1, 2, could be 5, you know, it depends on the year and what who comes in,
Yeah,
so.
this is when your salesmanship has to come into play.
Well, I can sell.
Good guy. We'll have 2 there at the station before you know it. It's a good salesmanship.
I am going to say.
Yeah.
When you would, or anybody
Yeah.
on the board is, I don't recommend not hiring the 2 people. I am concerned with that.
I understand that.
I do have
I know.
concern, and I just wanna express that to you, and that, you know, it's, with the amount of calls that they handle as a small group, when you stretch it over a larger group, it's less calls per person. You know, and it's wearing. And I'm not gonna say just pay these people, but you know, if it's, the volume is so high, people are looking to say, okay, I can go work here with this, and I only do, you know, this much work. Don't take that wrong.
I know, here we go.
That's not what I mean.
Right,
it's-
I understand.
So, you know, instead of, you know, doing their report all night long, trying to catch up on it, and then coming to the next day, because it's been so busy, the workload is shared amongst, we'll say 8 people instead of 4 people.
Yeah.
I'm just using those numbers, that's not what we have, but that's the numbers I'm using.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, and I want to make sure I just stress that, I don't recommend it, I respect the board, I bring it forward, tell you what I think.
I understand that.
And you guys make the final decisions.
We understand that, Michael. We understand that. Trust me. It's not a perfect world.
So if I change the part-time call to 45,000. Oops.
And not knowing where your budget is right at the moment, I mean, would he be able to, do you have the funds in your budget if you ended up with a student now?
Yep,
You
yeah,
do?
just,
Okay,
we look at yes.
okay,
To answer your question, yes.
okay. I'm just asking. I mean, that's your call, but that's a question that if you've got it in your budget, it's a great time to start doing your sales pitch.
Okay, so if we increase this to 45. Oops, hold on.
And again, it's just so important that, as we talked about the last time, keeping our ambulances up.
Yep.
Takes a year probably. We'll say a year and a few months, because
Well-
nothing, if they say a year, it probably takes 15 or 18 months or whatever.
Everything's running back. So, mean,
I
it's
totally agree.
obviously trying to get stuff that's
Yeah.
made anywhere from USA to across the
Mhm.
seas. So if you order something now, you may not see, you could see it tomorrow or 6 months from now.
Totally agree.
And so therefore, if that's something that we'll be looking at in our future, it'll be something we have to start
Early,
early
yes.
and go from there.
Mhm.
It brings it in at basically a 2%. It doesn't make enough of a difference to add the 10,000 when you take all of those other amounts away. It brings the bottom line in at 1797635.50, which is an increase of basically a little more than 2%.
Mhm.
I vote yes on that.
Okay. Sonny, how do you feel
Yep.
about that?
Same.
All right, okay. Well, let's go with that and, and we understand your concern?
We do, that's not
I
doing your job.
just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
just put my concern out there, because I obviously.
It's scary.
You know, my job is to bring it to you.
Yep.
And your guys are the voice of the taxpayers to say where it goes.
Yep,
That's where I'm at.
I understand. Yep, all right. Do we wanna do the emergency management
Yeah,
with Mike
yep,
next?
that's why Mike is.
Okay,
As I spoke to Gene this morning, we haven't changed the
Yeah.
emergency management
Okay.
over the years, it's the same amount we keep in there. Cause realization, it's more of sounds whole placeholder,
mhm,
because if we ever have anything that requires us to use emergency management, they'll be gone very rapidly.
but you overspent it in 2020?
That was related to COVID.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
figured.
Because that's a
All
lot
right.
of what it's paid.
Yeah.
And that's a realization we'll end up having with that line item, if
Mhm.
it happens. You know, if we're talking, you know, a mass casualty,
Yeah.
something that happens, and that sort of thing, that would cause, obviously.
All right, okay.
But that's a phone call to Gene and you guys, and that's a whole lot of
Sure,
talking at that point.
Sure.
But
all right,
that's what that ends up as.
all right, okay,
Make a motion, we accept the emergency management.
all right. Wanna accept?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And, we don't need to do a motion on his budget, because that's just discussed.
Well, I believe
We
you
got-
just
we got
did,
We did.
yeah.
Did you make the motion?
Yeah, no,
All right, okay, and you
Yeah, yeah,
second?
we voted
Okay,
Stay
I'm
tuned.
trying to,
Stay tuned, there's gonna be more to come.
okay. Okay, that's,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I know the feeling. Okay, general government buildings.
Yes, I do have a non-public session with you that does relate to this budget.
All right.
So I don't
All
know
right.
if you wanna hold off on this
We'll hold
until
off on that?
Wednesday,
Oh,
Yep.
potentially.
do we meet this Wednesday?
You
again?
do, you do. You have the health agencies, I know, we're almost done. This should do
I
it
know,
along
I'm
with the
trying
library.
to,
When you come out of non-public after
Yep.
the discussion, if you
Yep.
choose to go forward, you can.
Okay.
Excuse me a minute.
Yes, yes. We also, I know, we have a guest, or
No.
someone here that wished to speak, I believe, to the board. Okay. And was that going to be in non-public, or was that,
I don't know. I don't know the procedure on that.
well, I mean, I guess it depends on how much information she wishes to share. I mean, we can either be on tape or not on tape, basically, and, okay, so you're fine speaking your piece with everyone hearing it, correct?
Well, it's embarrassing, but I will.
We can do non-public.
We can do non-public,
We're gonna do
that's fine.
non-public.
That's fine.
You shouldn't
Craig,
have to
did
feel
you
embarrassed.
have
We will do
anything
non-public.
else?
Is there any other old business?
Questions and
Okay,
so, I mean, other than,
okay.
Okay.
And Patrick is actually here for your other non-public.
Non-public.
So, do you mind just stepping out for a couple of minutes and we'll go ahead and take care of?
Please,
Yes, please.
please.
And I will discontinue the recording.
And we'll just wait for John for a second.
I will hand you, oops, let me grab my notes. Oop-a-doop-a-doo.
I didn't bring any documentation, and I have allergies, so if I cough, don't be nervous. I've been coughing a lot lately.
There's been a lot of that, there seems as if lately.
I know, because of COVID, I feel guilty every time I cough.
Listen,